Good evening, everyone. We've got a full house here. Wow. What are we selling? Anything good?
It's opening day.
Opening day.
So welcome to the, what month is this? March 2024 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, Town of Carmel. Board members' names are in front of you on the dais. Mike Carnazza, Code Enforcement Officer, is with us tonight, as well as Town Council Greg Fulchetti. The way we operate is I'll ask you to come up. We'll swear you in. We'll hear your case, tell us the facts, and we'll poll the board for any questions or concerns. We'll open it up to the public afterwards. Everyone has a right to speak on every and any case that they want. If there's going to be repetitive discussions, I'll ask you to keep it short. So we would appreciate that, so it's not as long a night as it doesn't need to be. So please all stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I failed to mention, once we close a public hearing, there's no further input on any case, so please keep that in mind. Our first case tonight is a holdover for Norbert Letaywick, if I'm pronouncing that properly. Excuse me if I'm incorrect. Application for a variation of section 156. You know what? I'm sorry. I have to apologize. We asked for a favor because Mr. Schilling has another meeting potentially in another town, and his case, he'd asked that he come first. If nobody has any objections to that, I'm going to allow that.
Even if they objected. We object.
Okay. It's a professional courtesy. Bill comes in front of our board very often, and we respect the fact that they have business in other towns. So, Bill, just remind me of your application. I'm sorry?
Wendy Guthrow.
That was
Yes,
number
okay, I'm sorry. So we're going to
5.
take application number 5 first this evening. Application of Wendy Guthrow for a variation of section 156-45.2, seeking to amend a D&O dated 2/21/90 to eliminate condition no residential use of structure to add accessory apartment above garage built before 1998. The property is located at 73 Myrtle Avenue, Mahopac, New York, tax map 75.14-1-16. So the code requires or allows accessory apartment no more than 35% of the size of the main house, and what's provided is an accessory apartment is 76% of the size of the main house. The main house is 1,011 square feet, accessory apartment is 772 square feet, hence the 76%. So a variance requested of 41% or 418 square feet. Mr. Schilling?
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I'd like to thank you and the board for your courtesies. I've lost a friend in Jack Carrell, but I'll try to gain that back.
I'm going to remind everybody, please speak clearly and concisely into the microphones because it's being recorded for minutes. And is this your client,
No,
Bill?
don't think it was-
Yes.
Are you going to speak, ma'am?
Bill, check to make sure the mic's on.
Yeah.
Microphone.
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
on.
It's on.
Okay,
You know
she's
what?
not
This
guessing.
is my client, yes.
If you can raise it. Yeah, one more.
I'm not sure that my client will,
Hey, Vin, if you're back there, little assistance.
Please.
Oh, Dominic. Sorry. Vin's part.
It is Vince.
there we go.
It is Vince.
Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. Let me just swear you in if you're going to speak at all. So state your name into the microphone and address for the record,
Wendy Guthrow, 17 Treetop Court, Burlington, Massachusetts.
and raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, thank you. And Bill, I don't have to swear him in, I don't have to swear in counsel.
Good evening. My name is William Schilling, and I represent Wendy Guthrow, who is a co-owner of property located at 73 Myrtle. In attendance is Wendy, of course, several members of the family, including a brother who is named Brett and who is going to take a big part in this application. The property, as I said, is 37 Myrtle. It was left to the siblings by their mother, who passed away in 2021. As I said, Brett, who's the brother and a sibling, is in attendance, and he's here. Also here is Joel Greenberg, who was the project architect, and he has created floor plans which make the main house a one-bedroom and the garage apartment a one-bedroom. The property is 73 Myrtle. It's an R zone. The property consists of about 0.41 acres. The single-family house consists of 1,100 square feet, as you said. It's going to be transformed from a two-bedroom to a one-bedroom. The garage apartment is about 700 square feet, and it will be a one-bedroom as well. The property has a shared well, it has a shared septic, has a 1,000-gallon septic tank. That two-bedroom count is approved by the Putnam County Board of Health. Whether it will be modified or revisited when there's two structures with two bedrooms, I don't know. But if that's a requirement, certainly we'll have to do that. So that when we come in here today, there's two bedrooms on two structures, and that's what the Board of Health recognizes is two bedrooms. So again, I'm not sure the Board of Health will be involved, but if they have to be involved, we'll make them involved. What we're requesting is relief pursuant to accessory dwelling legislation, a special use, and that's governed by 156-4-5.2. The application is, and this is important, is a matter of right. It's a permitted use, provided that you comply with all the dimensional requirements. It's a favor of a favorite use permitted by the code if you comply with the dimensional requirements. And we do comply with the dimensional requirements with one exception. And the one exception is the size of the garage apartment, which is small. And the reason it's as small as it is because the main dwelling square footage is 1,100 square feet. So if you have to comply with 35% of that, you're building a tiny little apartment that's really, really not functional. So as the chairman read, we're looking for a 41% variance and 418 feet variance. But again, I don't think that's terribly dispositive because of the size of the unit that's existing now. I don't think the framers had in their mind that when they considered accessory apartment that the main house would be 1,100 square feet, and I think that's why we're here today. In support of what we seek, we have Wendy's affidavit, we have my memorandum of law, and Joel Greenberg's floor plans, which, of course, you're free to review. They've been submitted to you before. Both structures predate code. They were both built before 1955, and that's pursuant to a departmental search we saw, and we have. The Wallace family is well-known in Mahopac, and they're here since the 1930s and before. It's a long-term family with Mahopac ties, 7 children, all went to the schools in Mahopac, lived on Kirk Lake. And so this is a family that is entrenched in Mahopac and not someone coming from the outside looking for relief. The family's mother also was a native of Mahopac. Again, I stress this not for favor, but just to tell you how entrenched they are in Mahopac. Their relatives include Kevin Wright and Michael Kazari. And again, I don't say that for any reasons, but to say these people are well-known and well thought of in Mahopac. The reason we're here is Claudia is a daughter with special needs, and she is really the scope and the reason for this application. And she lives on Hill Street in her house. But the idea is to get everyone together, and that includes their brother, who's Dean, who's here this evening. I'm sorry, Brett. Brett has a back disability. He's been injured. He has disc compressions. He can't handle stairs. He's due to be retired. And the idea would be to put him in the accessory apartment close enough to Claudia where they can look after one another. We all know that special need people get their help from special people, but family is the most important thing. And that's really the reason we're here today, is to put everybody in a community where they can take care of their sister. The history of this application and of this is that, as I said, well-entrenched Mahopac family purchased the property in 1987. And at the time of the purchase, the minutes show that there was a well and septic being bandied about because it was in the dicta of the ZBA decision in 1990. And in that decision, the idea was to try to get a variance for the height of the garage. And it was granted, but the applicant was told not to use the garage as a residence, and that's clear. One of the most important things I can say to that is in 1990, when he petitioned the zoning board, accessory apartment legislation wasn't available. That was enacted in 1995. So I think it stands to reason that a guy who goes to the zoning board in 1990 for a roof height variance would absolutely go if his intention was at the time to create another apartment. But that wasn't available to him. The legislation was not there for him. And so I think that explains perhaps why the dicta of the zoning board was to say you can't do it. And in response, we weren't in a position to employ the statute, which would perhaps carry the day for us. My client's father was injured in a stream fitters explosion in 1997. And that's when it was converted from a garage to a garage apartment. The history of the garage apartment, or rather the major apartment, was long-term rentals. They used it to supplement the income that was lost due to the terrible injury that their father experienced. This is a father of 7 looking for some way to feed his family in a situation where he couldn't work anymore. He could only work very, very sparsely. So that's the beginning of the apartment, is 1997. The garage apartment was used for short-term rentals and mostly for the kids, children, young adults in transition, high school to college, college to outside of college. And so it was used in large part for family members to go, but it was used for short-term rentals too. But the primary house was always long-term rentals. In fact, there's a long-term rental in there now. In 2015, Mr. Wallace died, and since that time, the uses remained pretty much the same. 2015, the main house was rented again, long-term, needed rental income, and the garage apartment was rented to third parties, but a lot of time it was used for the kids and their needs. In 2023, building department filed a violation, and as a result, my client was forced to evict the tenant that was in the garage apartment. Today, the initiative is to legalize the apartment for family purposes, primarily for the family to be together. Brett and Claudia are very close. Brett can't live in the premises he's in now. The stairs are problematic to him. So the apartment, the little apartment, would be perfect for him, and so close to his sister that they could walk back and forth to one another. She lives on Hill Street, as I told you. So it's really family-oriented that we're here today. It's more family than anything else. And if I could, I'd just like to read you some of the language of 15645. And taking some excerpts from it, it says, its purpose is to assist residents, young and old, and relatives of residents living in the town of Carmel. And then it goes on to say accessory apartments are within the specific purpose and intent, that is to allow necessary apartments to provide the opportunity to develop small rental housing units designed to meet the housing needs of relatives and families living in the town of Carmel. The law is designed to contribute support, economic support, to residents and their families. I can't imagine anything more spot on than our application than what the code envisions. It's exactly what the code framers envisioned when they codified this action. The dimensional deficiency, the only reason we're here, we would do this as a matter of a right if it weren't for the deficiency, is because the main cottage is 1,100 square feet. And we're tied into...
If I may, just really quick, did you guys get cited, or you
Yes.
decided to clean this up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of that.
And we evicted the tenant as a result. So that was in 2023.
Okay.
And so in every other capacity, in every other regard, we're compliant. And if it were not for the small size of the house, we wouldn't be here. We'd be looking for a building permit from Michael. So I ask you to consider that as really, if you're going to consider the element of substantiality, consider the 1,100 square foot house. We're in compliance with all other requirements and would be entitled to this as a matter of right. If you don't comply with the dimensional requirements of the special use, you need an area variance, just so we're clear on that. And you hear this once a month, 15 times, and it's a balance test. It's a balance test between benefit and detriment. And I would submit to you, we bode well with the comparisons. There is no change to the neighborhood. This has been in existence for a long, long time. There are no structural changes. There's no physical changes. There's many multifamilies in the neighborhood. Somebody said, well, why don't you add on? It's because the lot just isn't big enough to do that, and we can't go up because of the handicaps of the people that would live there. There's no environmental change. Board of Health will be gotten, if it's not already gotten, by the two-bedroom approval we have now. Whether it's changes because now there's two structures, I don't know, but there's no environmental consequence. As far as substantial, I've been through it before. I'll say it again. We wouldn't be here if the house was not 1,100 square feet. It's that simple. There's no way to obviate the need, and we talked about perhaps add on, and again, it's just not a feasible or logical solution. Finally, with regard to self-creation, I again stress to you in 1990 when they said don't live there, I'm sure it would have been countered with, but I have the right under the special use section, which wasn't in play until 1995. Again, I stress to you the deep roots of this family, that their use isn't self-created, that it's an attempt to put people together who want to be together. I'll conclude just by asking you to please review the statute again. Read the language, read the purpose, the stated purpose that the framers had when they framed the statute. The statute's meant to help local residents. It's helped to give opportunities, housing opportunities to those who need them. And this is a case where if you read the statute and look at the fact pattern that I've just presented you, all things are aligned. And so I can ask if you have any questions, or Joel
Okay.
Greenberg could go over the floor plans, or...
No, I think everyone has copies of the floor plans in their packet. I don't know if there's any questions to that. Just a question for Mike. I mean, typically when people come for an accessory apartment, the average size of the house is probably around 2,000 square feet, 1,800 and up, where
Yeah,
they
there's
can
a
build
minimum and maximum size. It's got to be between 400 and 900, so if it's, the percents come out to 400, you have to figure it out backwards.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, typically,
Typically,
a
yeah.
larger house.
Yeah, raised ranches.
Wants to build an accessory apartment for family or, you know, to supplement income or what have you. So, I mean, unfortunately, like, every project or every job is judged on its own merits, and unfortunately, the house is existing as small. So I just want to point that out to the board and to the public. John, any questions or comments down
No,
there?
the picture tells the story, you know, it's 1,000 words. That's the main house, the first house closest to the road, and
That's right.
and then that was in 1990 when you connected the septic when you made it into an apartment, the garage? They connected the
No,
septic then?
it would have had,
It was actually when we bought it, there was, that was already in the works.
Okay.
Just speak into the mic,
Oh, sorry.
please.
Yes, when the residence was purchased, that was already in the works.
Okay. Yeah.
But it is hooked up to the septic. That's,
yes, shared
better be.
septic, shared
yeah,
well.
that's what I'm thinking.
It's a 1,000-gallon tank that's close to the main house, so it's a long run back, you know?
So, Mike, if this gets approved tonight, they have to go seek Board of Health, or it's covered because of the bedroom count?
Once we look at it, we'll determine that. Not if the bedroom count's good, and somebody looked at the tank, no. But we have to, I don't know what you did with the tank, if you have one tank or two, I'm not sure yet, so.
Okay.
I do have one other question. Who's the owner of the property?
I think the family, right? Ms. Guthrow is the owner with your siblings? The estate? You can grab the handheld.
Thank you, yes. When my mom passed away 3 years ago, her will passed it on to 5 of the 7 children. One of my sisters is in Florida and helped take care of my parents. And then the other handicapped child, Claudia, she did not include her in the will to sustain her public benefits.
Right.
And so it was left to myself and 4 of my other siblings.
I presume you're the executor, that's why it's in the application's in your name?
Yeah, I'm a co-executor of, I'm a co-executor of the estate, and I'm co-guardian to my sister Claudia, along with my brother William, who's in Peekskill.
Okay.
And so we're in charge of her and just trying to figure out, I mean, obviously, as you know, when a parent dies and you have a learning disabled and handicapped child, that transition is hard enough.
No, I agree.
So we've been trying to get a situation for her in place that she's as stable as possible moving forward. So when Brett sustained his injury, and he also had a recent divorce, so his living situation changed, he could fulfill the need to be a support system for Claudia and not be right on top of her, so that when we had this whole thing with the accessory dwelling, it just seemed like a perfect situation. And as Bill said, that the legislation kind of really does speak to our situation, that if we can try to get that as an accessory dwelling for a family member to live in, and then to support Claudia so she can have her best life, it would just be a perfect situation for us.
Would he be acting as her, like a CD Paz almost, you know?
To some degree, we are also, she's on a lot of public benefits. We have
That's
her
right.
with a day program, we have her in a work program, and we also have a community rehab person coming in. But as you know, budgets are tight, so they're cutting back on a lot of these services. So that Brett and even his daughter said that they're willing to step up and try to supplement some of that care. I'm in Boston, and so I have been just coming down constantly, once a month, and I'm just like, this is really crazy, we need a better solution. And so we've also had different applications, and we've had a housing application in for Claudia that maybe in a supported living environment might be better, but that it always comes back that they're just not right for her. And that my parents asked us to keep her in the home and not put her in a group home. So
Fulfill wishes.
we're just trying to honor their wishes.
And I think that's noble. The other thing, does she need 24/7 care? I'm just concerned about a live-in situation.
Oh, about her living, yeah. So that when they've tested her and they ask her the questions, what are you going to do in an emergency? What if there's a fire? Can you call 911? So all of those things indicate
So she doesn't need a live-in?
that she can live
Okay.
on her own to some degree.
She passed the test.
She passed the test. She checked the boxes.
All right, let me just pull the rest of the board. Rose, any
I
questions?
think when we weigh these situations, we have to look at the uniqueness of it.
Absolutely.
One thing that stands out in my mind is,
Uniqueness isn't a factor in an area variance.
in the area variance, but we need to look at the entire picture and how
Okay.
unique this situation is. Number one, this was a rental property for 26 years. From 1997 to 2023, it was a rental property.
Yes.
That means that the situation there is not going to change if we go forward with this variance. Number two,
Well, if I could respond, we've been given a violation from the building department, so it is changed, and now we're trying to resurrect it.
right, but for 26 years, nobody had a problem with it.
Right, it's not a change in circumstance,
It's not a
really,
change.
you know?
The structures themselves aren't changing. The primary unit is unusually small for this area, and you have a unique family situation with your sister and your brother. All that has to be considered when we make a decision. So I feel like this should go forward. Every application stands on its own merit, and there are certainly merits to this that, when I look at, well, an undesirable change, the change hasn't, there is no change. Is it, can any other method be used? No. Is it proposed variance substantial? You're only asking for one variance. Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions? This has been going on for 26 years. How can there be? And is the alleged self-created? I don't think so. I think you have a unique circumstance that you didn't create.
Thank you.
I have no questions, thank you.
Yeah, I think Bill's argument especially about the use of an accessory apartment, it's spot on. And I think that applies in this case, you know, and it definitely works in your favor, so.
Listen, if it was 50%, 70% larger, it'd be kind of a different story, but it's
But even
not that
still,
extreme.
Yeah, that's just one factor, so.
I think unfortunately that the original base house is
Right.
a smaller house, and
Right.
that's indicative of that part of town. I mean, that's one of the
Right.
oldest roads in this town.
Right.
So that's what they built back then. Julie?
No questions.
Will,
No questions.
anything?
I have a
All right.
question.
At this point, any
Mike has a
input?
mic.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
The owner will live on the property?
Yes.
One of the owners?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's
The
very
accessory
important.
part.
And two, why did they go for a variance back in, whatever, 1990, if it was a pre-existing building?
A height variance for the garage.
But it was pre-existing, you said.
All I know is, well, Marge Agor letter said they were pre-existing when they went before in 1990. There was some variance required for the garage, and I took it to be height. But I do have a letter from
There's a deal.
building inspector of years gone saying both structures are predated.
Strange. I just didn't understand why we'd be predated and get a variance, because if it's there, it's legal, unless maybe it had a flat roof and they put a pitch roof?
You know, Mike, I don't know. I know it was roof height, and you're right. I mean, the building department said it was predated in a 60s or 70s letter, but I don't know.
If I recall, it was a flat roof, and I think that that's what they tried to do, is add the pitch to it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this point, any input from the public on this application? Okay, I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
All right,
Thank you very,
second?
very much.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you, folks. All right, we're going to go back to the beginning of the agenda, and I appreciate everyone's patience for allowing this. Where's my agenda? So back to
Poor Jack.
Norbert Latawick.
He left.
So the application is for a variation of section 156-45, 2B1, and 156-20, seeking an area variance for permission to retain an accessory apartment and fence. The property is located at 1350 Route 6, Carmel, New York, and is known as tax map 5415-1-17. So the code requires or allows structure to be existing as of 1/21/98, and what's provided is a structure built after 1/21/98. So a variance required to allow accessory apartment in garage built after 1/21/98. Also, the code requires or allows a 4-foot fence in, in front. What's provided is 96 inches, which is 8 feet high. So a variance of 48 inches or 4 feet is being sought. Good evening. State your name and address for the record, please.
John Carell, 121 Cushman Road in Patterson.
Jack, can you turn the mic up to pick you up a little better, if you would?
Okay.
Yeah. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
All right, bring us through your application, please.
Okay, this owner has a 3-bedroom house and a garage, a garage that was previously above it was a storage space, playroom, I don't know. But now he wants, he converted it into a 1-bedroom apartment, which is what we're here for. One of the things we're here for, to legalize that 1-bedroom apartment. He has an extended family, and his extended family comes over, visits periodically, and they want to use that space.
I think we went through this last time you were here, but it's all one case now with the
Yeah,
added
we went through
situation with the fence.
that last time, but they didn't realize, nobody realized that the fence issue was there. There's a fence, you must have seen it, it's a white fence, it's 8 feet high. The requirement is 4 feet high. He installed the fence for privacy and noise. He's right on Route 6 in the straightaway between Hamlet Carmel and the Hamlet of Mahopac, and that's why he has a higher fence. I mean, a 4-foot high fence isn't going to do anything with respect to noise or privacy.
So how long has the fence been there?
Mike, do you know?
I didn't even know it was there, to be honest with you. I wasn't paying attention. Remember when you said the application? I didn't know that was there. We would have put it on the first time, so I don't know when it went
I
on.
think 4 or 5 years, I'm not sure, but it's been there for a while.
All right, so, I mean, my point is, if anyone had an issue with it, they would have complained about it or sent a letter
Yes.
to the building department, right? I'm familiar with the stretch. It's pretty much isolated on Route 6 in that area.
Yes, yes.
So I do agree
And
with
it backs up
the
to-
road work and, I mean, the road noise itself.
Yes.
So we'll bear that in mind. Has anybody complained? Have we gotten any?
Not that
I guess
know
we'll
of.
open up to the public next, but, all right, I'll start down this way. This is in your territory, Will. Any questions or concerns?
So we're just doing the fence, or both?
It's
No,
still
it's
both.
both. It's-
We had to hold over the first one to get to the fence.
No questions on the fence?
Thank you.
Okay. Julie, anything?
No questions.
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
No questions.
And John?
It looks good.
Does anybody in the public have any comments or concerns on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Jack.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
it.
Thank you.
Was painless.
All right, application number 2, Robert Altero for variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to retain gazebo and legalized room above garage. The property is located at 3 Curry Spur, Mahopac, New York, and its tax maps 53.12-1-17. The code requires or allows 10 feet rear for the gazebo, and what's provided is only 2 feet, so a variance of 8 feet is required. And then the code requires or allows 25 feet for the front of the garage, and it's a 0 property line, it's actually 0 because it's over the property line, and an easement agreement was needed. So a variance required of 25 feet. So this had been back many, many months ago, and we heard the whole case, except for the fact that we needed some kind of agreement or easement, which I'm hoping you finally have achieved. So first things first, state your name and address for the record.
William Besharat, representing the Alteros.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right.
Okay, as
Tell us some good news, please.
the good news is we have reached an agreement, and we are in the process of writing the description of the encroachment to file it with the county, because I said it has to go into perpetual agreement. It's going to be filed, it's going to be transferred with that, and everything is okay, except that we found out that there's an issue with the Del Duca's deed. They had some, they could not, Eric Link could not find the information that he needed, and finally located them, I think, a couple of days ago. And now they're writing the description, And the attorney that is working on filing it, Mr. Gary Gersten, will be filing it as soon as he receives the description from Eric Link, and that will be the end of that.
So what I'm hearing is a request to hold this over again,
Yes, but
because we
I
cannot
believe
determine
that-
this until you have that established.
I believe that we will have it all established for the next meeting.
Yeah, well, hand grenades and sticks here, so,
No, everything was resolved, now it's just a matter of the time, and Eric should have probably the description written, and will be taken
okay.
next
So,
week. for
but we
submission.
can't approve this until that agreement is in front of us.
Correct.
So,
Correct, we
We
understand that.
dismiss it and have them come back?
yeah, I mean, Greg, just a little guidance here. I mean, does it typically take this long for a situation like this? Do we hold this over again, or?
It's up to the board in terms of getting whatever the consent is from the party. There's an encroachment onto the neighboring property.
Yes.
With the physical structure. So
Yeah.
getting either a boundary line agreement or an easement or a fee conveyance, that can take time. But the board can hold it over, you can deny it without prejudice, then they'd have to do another resubmission with a fee in that circumstance. I mean, you're not gonna decide on the merits because you haven't gotten to the merits yet, so.
Let me just add one thing. The agreement between the owner agreed to it initially, the reason why it took so long, they gave a notarized letter indicating that they have no objection, and they thought that will satisfy the zoning board, and we said no, and the board said, no, you need a written, an easement to be filed, and that is why it's taken so long. This copy of the letter is already on file with the board from the Del Duca.
All right, I think we're more comfortable with a finalized agreement signed by all parties. So, this has been going on since August.
Well,
I
you
believe
one
you
more
at your word of what you said, and hopefully this is gonna be soon, so we're gonna give one more month courtesy. If it goes beyond next month, Willie, we're gonna have to dismiss
Completely
without prejudice.
understandable,
I
and I
mean, it's
appreciate it.
costing a lot of time and money for, the taxpayers
If
here.
we're looking for a short turnaround possibly, you want to just adjourn it to May?
It's up to you. Yeah,
Say that again? I
we'll-
did not hear.
So we're not putting it on the agenda for next month. I mean, it'll stay perpetual. Mike, probably on the agenda if we postpone it to May instead of April.
You can do it.
Hold it over till that month is appropriate.
You're the
Yeah.
chairman, so, yeah.
I feel very confident that April will be fine.
You sure, Willie? Don't
Yeah.
put yourself out there.
Yep, you know what, based on what the attorney told me.
One more month,
that's the-
one more month, that's
But
it.
that's true too.
But if you give them to April, you could always hold it over for one more month.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm trying to give them.
Yeah, actually, next month might, we
Might be
may.
a quick turnover.
We may have our meeting earlier than the 4th. I'm actually
All right, so that May will
not
be
around,
fine,
so,
That's good, man.
okay?
okay.
Motion to hold over until the May meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm holding you to it, buddy.
Happy Easter, everybody.
You too.
You too, Willie.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. Application number 3, Michael J. Festo for a variation of section 156-101 and 156-47A1, seeking a use variance for permission to encroach upon front and rear setbacks with garage and expand non-conforming use, which is, it's a two-family. The property is located at 247 Bucks Hollow Road, Mahopac, New York, tax map 75.16-2-1. The code requires or allows an accessory front setback of 25 feet. What's provided is 23.75, so a variance of 1.25 is being sought. And the accessory front setback of 25 feet, what's provided is 8.83, so a variance of 16.17 is being sought. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Mr. Festo.
Thanks again for having me.
State your name and address again for the record.
Michael J. Festo, 247 Bucks Hollow Road in Mahopac, New York.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, so you kind of took some recommendations here and realized, that it's kind of a larger
Yes.
size than what we thought would be befitting for that property. So
Yes.
bring us through it.
All right, so first and foremost, thanks again for having me. I did provide a letter last week. I hope everyone saw it and read it. I also updated my site plan. The structure has changed from 34 by 40 feet to 32 by 30. The length, width, and height has changed. The height also shrunk 3 feet. And, yeah, so This is my new proposed plan, and that's it.
Okay, I mean, everyone had a chance to review it, right? John, do you have any comments now on the small
Yeah,
size?
so, Michael, the setback now is about 8.83 feet from the property line.
Yes.
Did that change at all from the original?
So the setback from the property line off Bucks Hollow, or,
Yeah, off of Box.
yeah, it did shrink. It shrunk back about 8 feet.
And then you,
And then I also jogged it back in. It's now 30 feet compared to originally proposed 33 feet, sorry, not 34.
and the primary dwelling is still rented?
Yes.
Are you gonna be a resident of that primary dwelling?
The main house?
Yeah.
I mean, in the near future, it's definitely, it's not a set plan, but it's a consideration at this time.
No
I
further
think you had
questions.
mentioned that last time that you were going to, that's part of.
It's gonna happen in the near future. I don't have any, set plans in the books right now, but it's definitely gonna happen.
Mike, does that affect
The use
the
variance.
accessory use?
If he chose to convert it to an accessory apartment, the answer is yes, but they don't want to do that. That's giving up a whole lot of value on a house,
Okay.
because he can rent both units right now. So if he gives it up and makes it an accessory, he wouldn't need the use variance, but he would also
He would have to
not
live
be
in.
able to rent both units. So if he ever gets married and moves out and wants to go live in a house somewhere else, he couldn't rent both units because now
Right,
he's
right.
not owner occupied. Which is why I was asking the previous applicant, is the owner gonna live on the site? That's, trying to make sure that we stick with that for the accessory.
Right.
No further questions.
Rose, anything?
Yeah, I had read the January minutes, and I went over the minutes carefully, and there are a lot of things you said that were a little disturbing. What you did say is you cannot see anything, and there's no stop sign coming from the other way. There's no visual at all. You said there was an accident there last week, and then you said, I'm sure there's been many others that I haven't heard about. And then you had said something else, I believe. It's a blind corner coming around. These are all serious issues. If you're gonna put in a driveway on a double-lined road, you have a fork. So you have someone coming from the north side over by Wallhour. If they want to go around to the other side, from the north side to the south side, that's a hairpin turn. If they're coming from the west side, coming from Union Valley Road, there is no stop sign at all. So you have a very dangerous area, and you yourself admit to it.
Yeah, but the structure is not on the corner, though. It's
No,
not.
you're gonna have a curb cut, and you're gonna have somebody backing out of a driveway on a double yellow line when someone coming from the west side could be flying through. And then your house also sits not at the peak, but close to the peak of a hill on
Okay.
on the east side? No.
Be the south side.
On the south side of the fork. So you're sitting at a hill, you're sitting on the hill, and you can't see coming down. And if you're coming out of the driveway quick, you also have a problem there. There's so many areas where you could get hit, and you yourself admitted that there have been many accidents there.
I see where you're coming from, but the driveway's not gonna be sitting on the corner. You're gonna have plenty of room and plenty of visual to make any turn on that corner.
If somebody's flying from the west side, if somebody's flying from Union Valley Road, that end, and they're flying through, there's no stop sign there. You could be creating more problems.
This is a two-way road.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. But you're coming from.
Correct, from here.
From here.
Yes.
Flying through here.
But it's,
And somebody's backing out of that driveway, you could have potential problems here. You already admit that there's been accidents here.
Sir?
You'll get your chance.
This is a dangerous corner. I've ridden this road for 42 years. I know this road very well, and I know that it can be a dangerous road. So to add a curb cut in, and I have to ask my other board members, the engineers here, is this garage, is it to scale on this plan?
No, this drawing is not to scale, no.
It's not to scale?
No.
So it's actually bigger than this, correct?
No, but like he was saying before, the driveway, the curb cut's just being shifted down from the, so there's an existing curb cut up by the house right now. It's just being shifted down where the driveway access is gonna be for the garage.
Closer to the fork.
Yeah, but it's still plenty of
The
room. I
hair-
mean, you have,
That's a hairpin turn though, right there.
right, and, but
If there's
I
a
did make a
stop sign-
mistake last meeting. There is a stop sign there.
Right
I did
here and
check.
here.
I misspoke.
But not
So there
here.
is stop signs on all those
No,
corners.
not on the one. Not
She's
on the
saying coming
Union
from the
Valley.
westbound.
Okay.
Coming from Union Valley, no.
Yeah.
There's no stop sign there.
Yeah, but
So,
I mean, it's a turn. People have to,
You have to
coming
make
down
it-
this
yeah,
way.
you
Right,
have
and
to
they-
make it-
There's
They
huge,
might not
there's
see
huge
it.
oak trees there right now. You can't see anything either way right now.
if somebody's
I mean,
backing out though,
if anything, it's gonna help the corner, like tremendously.
I find this to be a problem. And this proposed garage is not drawn to scale on this survey?
No, this is not printed to scale, but
It's not.
It's drawn
paper
to
is-
scale, it's not printed to scale.
it's not printed to
It's not
scale. This
printed to
So
drawing
the
is to
original that I
scale.
looked at was a scale drawing, and they shrunk it down to be able to submit it to you guys. So it is scale, it's just the number,
a scale.
this
It's-
number is not the right scale for this size that it's here.
But it's proportioned
Proportionately right.
correctly?
That's correct.
Correct. And there's gonna be a second floor on this as well, right?
Yes, with,
If
now,
if they do a curb cut, highway department will have rules that they can't be a certain distance from an intersection and slopes and speeds and everything. There's a whole site distance calculation they do. So that's gonna be part of their, I'm not saying it's the only part, but it's part of what they're gonna look at. So that is,
It is a dangerous turn. You yourself admitted it. In the minutes, I have 3 different times you've said it, right in the minutes. So I have a great concern with this application. But I'm only one vote, so, all along I've been saying, this is a tough one. And we're back to the use variance. You're not living there. Right now, we're dealing with a use variance. So it's incapable of earnings. You're not producing those numbers again. Done.
The last thing she said was the only thing I was going to say. First, a use variance must prove all the following. The first one, incapable of earning a reasonable return if used for any of the allowable uses. Dollar amounts must be shown. I don't see anything in here.
There was
No
a,
further questions, thank you.
He did have this letter,
Yeah,
with the
it's
number.
not enough.
Yeah.
yeah, there's no
There was no
new
meeting.
information beyond that, right?
The
Silvio,
letter that was
any
provided?
Nothing,
comments, concerns?
no.
Yeah, the
largely
record
go.
should show there was a letter, it's undated, which basically apologizes, and we accept the apology, and we thank you for that. But there's nothing regarding a,
Here it is from John Malloy.
Yes,
oh, I'm sorry.
John Gifford, Malloy, yeah.
Oh, that was from January. That was when we first,
Yeah.
when it was
Yes,
first on, yeah.
yeah,
No,
it was
nothing
nice.
new, though. Okay.
All right, Julie?
So the rear setback was previously listed at 8.83, and now it's 9.83. So are you changing your application?
yeah, that's correct. It's gonna be 9.83 now. Rear setback, yes.
So I guess the question here is, because it's less, we don't have to renotice it. But if we do approve this, we'd have to note that change occurred.
correct.
Right, because the application is at
It'll be part- it'll be part of the
16.17. We have to grant it at 15.17.
So you could amend the application, that's what we typically do with the application.
Okay, you want to?
Yeah, we've done it.
Okay, I
Well,
just want to
let's-
make sure we do it right.
Let's make sure, if this goes that route, and we'll amend it.
Yeah, okay.
Will, any comments, questions?
So the structure is still a 3-car garage?
Yes.
And are there changes to the actual structure besides for the couple of feet that you've shrunk it?
Can you repeat that?
And there's no
Well,
changes to the
turn the mic
garage,
So, yeah, there you go.
except for the couple of feet that you shrunk it? It's the same layout as
Yeah,
was
length, width, and
submitted.
height changed, yes. Yes, correct. It shrunk a good amount.
And it's still self-created, which is part of the use variance.
So Phil, do you want to read that again? Just so the app.
Sure, use variance must provide all the following. Number one, incapable of earning a reasonable return if used for any of the allowable uses. Dollar amounts must be shown. Number two, property is affected by unique or at least highly uncommon circumstances. Number three, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. And four, not self-created.
So I think we read this to you last time and tried to explain to you that you have to show that you're suffering a burden here, like monetarily or by some other means. We don't see that here. I mean, I thought that was clear, and, we gave you the opportunity to go away and think about it and consult with somebody. I know Mr. Malloy is of counsel, and he was on the planning board, I think, for many years. I think he's experienced some situations like this where he could have given you guidance. So, at this point, I'm going to open it up to the public because we didn't do that yet. So if anyone wishes to speak on this application, now's your opportunity. Okay, so do you understand what that means?
Yes, I understand. I provided the financial hardship letter. That's what I could provide. I would
Well,
hope guys
you also
accept that.
didn't answer, really, number three, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. It's not really property affected by a unique or at least highly uncommon circumstance either. And unfortunately for us, we have to, all those have to be answered.
All right, for a use variance, all those criteria must be met,
So-
and we don't know that you meet that, unfortunately. But we're going to put it to a vote, and we'll see where it comes out.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second?
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. All right, application number 4, Drana Vukov for variation of section 156-47A1, seeking a use variance for permission to put up a pergola near the pool on lot with 2 one-family dwellings and 1 one-family dwelling. The property is located at 515 Route 6N, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map 75.10-1-18. Good evening. State your name and address.
Good evening, how are you?
Good. Name and address.
My name is Jelash Vukai. I live at 515 Route 6N, Mahopac, New York, 10541.
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, bring us to your application. You've got an existing, I think I lost your packet.
I did too.
It's been held over a few times here. I guess you didn't realize a couple months ago to have been here. Put up a pergola near the pool, so you put the pergola up already, it's existing?
Correct.
And you got cited by Mr. Marisak?
I did.
Okay, so he's doing his job and he's doing it well.
Very well.
How long was it up there for?
Well, I had the pool installed a couple of years ago, and originally, the confusion was, I thought the pool company was going to do the pergola, and it wound up that they didn't. So, I'm in the business, and we did the pergola, and I thought that when the pool they do the permits, I had the existing permit, but I was mistaken. They didn't get the permit for the pergola.
So you thought it was one full package?
Yes, I thought it was a full
In essence?
package.
Okay. Wrong were you, huh? Is there any property you can purchase to bring it into conformance, or no? There's no other property, you're landlocked there, right?
Yes.
It's a use variance,
It's a use
that's not one of
variance. I'm sorry.
It's a use
Go
variance.
through my usual spiel here.
Use variance.
Yeah, yeah, so the financial hardship here.
Yep. So we're going to read the same criteria that we just read for the previous applicant, right? For a use variance, all of these must be proven, right? Is it incapable of earning a reasonable return if used for any of the allowable uses? So you must show dollar amounts, right, of that burden. Number 2 is the property is affected by unique or at least highly uncommon circumstances.
If anyone wants to comment on this, everyone's been out there to visit the property?
Will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Probably not. It's a larger piece of property that's out there, and it's not self-created. I'm gonna have to argue that this is self-created. You didn't realize you needed the,
Well, I mean, I'm sure that most of all you know know the house. My house on 610, it used to be an eyesore. It was, even the third floor was, they had all, I did some work on my teeth, so it's very hard for me to talk. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I apologize. Usually I'm a better speaker than this.
Take your time.
The house is 3 floors. Each floor had sinks and community toilets when I bought the house. And there was 2 or 3 kitchens, multiple units. I took all that out, and the board gave me, I increased the size of the house, which increased the taxes by 3 times, by the way, but that's a different issue. But I made the house really nice, at least I think so. I've been working on the house for 25 or 26 years now. And it was an eyesore. I didn't think that the pergola was that big of a deal, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's on 5 posts. We overbuilt it. It's beautiful. It's right by the pool. My family, my kids, and my grandchildren need some sort of shade there. My profound apologies.
Did it just die?
Cut off.
Did that stop?
Yeah,
yeah,
Took the other one.
Yeah, my profound apologies for if I broke any laws or if I did anything without your permission. I spent a lot of money putting the pool and putting the jacuzzi and doing the little pond area and everything there. I thought that the plans called for all of that. When we did the pool people told me they'll go and get all the approvals.
Mike, why is the pergola a use variance?
Because the same reason as the last one, it's a 2-family house, it's multi-family.
Is
It's
it
an
a
expansion
two-family
of,
house?
Well, no, it's now it is. It used to be multiple family. Now it's a big 1-family house, and we had 2 other cottages on the property that were there since 1860 or when the house was built.
it's an expansion of a non-conforming use.
Right.
As is the next one, that's what I mean, everybody, if we're gonna hold to this standard, nobody's gonna get it.
But it pre-exists code. These buildings,
Yeah, so did Festa.
Simone, that's the problem, we're gonna have the same situation on all of them.
But,
They're pre-existing.
no, I get it. So we have to hold them to a use variance, or we? Yeah, you have to hold all
It's
the
use variance
criteria in
criteria.
place. Okay.
a pergola?
You determine that, not the pergola, that's not the issue. The issue is what's there is non-conforming, and they're expanding it by putting a pergola in, or they're expanding it by putting a deck on, or they're expanding it by putting a, what's the other one? Garage was the other one.
If you put up a tent, that would-
Temporary tent?
Temporary,
I could give a temporary permit for a tent, but if it's a permanent tent, that's a structure.
yeah. It's a structure.
I just feel, again, my apologies, I just want to emphasize something, or I feel I did so much work to that property and was such an eyesore and multiple chopped up apartments in there. I didn't realize, I understand the whole concept of pre-existing non-conforming now better than I ever did. So I didn't realize this is a big issue. I never thought that a pergola would put me in a situation where I did something illegal. I mean, it's 19 feet by 12 or 13,
I
I
get
forget the
that, but
exact dimensions.
every time you build something, you
I
have
understand.
you have to bring it
And you-
through the
and you are
town.
correct, but
because
it's
you're gonna
not-
run into trouble like what you're in now with
You
the
are
situation.
100% correct, but it's not like a structure where I could rent out, I'm looking to make money. It's just for my own family's comfort and a little shade
I
there.
understand that, and I appreciate it, but we have a certain role here for the town.
I feel for you. I could, you hear this all day, so I really, I sympathize with you, and I understand that.
So, incapable of earning a reasonable return if used for any of the,
That's
any
not
allowable
about the
uses.
pergola, though.
I
That's
know.
about the whole property.
Expansion of it. This is a tough one.
Are you renting out the cottages on the property right now?
Well, we have, yes, one of the apartments my aunt lived in with her husband. They had no kids, and he died 101, and she just passed away. So it's still vacant, absolutely. I just don't have the heart to rent it out. And the lady that's downstairs, she's been there 51 years. I have no heart to evict her too. She has no kids, and her husband passed away about 10 years ago. And the one in the back, yes, they're friends of mine, and well, friends. They work for me, and they do some cleaning and some stuff. But they're all undervalued. I'm not looking to make money on these places. I'm just looking,
So,
just
Mike,
so I
if we
can, you know,
We're
for
looking
my
at-
family. I have 5 daughters, so I'm thinking later when they get married, maybe they can move into the cottages.
We're as far away from you as possible.
Think about
If we
it.
don't approve this, he's got to remove it.
Unless you want to decide that expanding a garage, deck, pool, shed, gazebo, things like that are not expansions of the use, and make it that they don't have to go with the use standard, that's up to your board to do.
That's an
But you
interpretation.
have to do the same, that'll be an interpretation almost that from this point on,
Yeah.
an expansion of a non-conform,
Yeah, I mean,
without
you
doing
could
the
do it-
use.
You could do it case by case, that whatever is being sought isn't actually an expansion of the use. And if you
And
make
to-
that determination, then you're probably stuck with area variance criteria for any number of them.
Where if some, oh, sorry.
No, but if you make it, if your view is that it's an expansion of the use, then you're stuck with the use variance criteria.
To me, a pergola is not an expansion of the use. The use is the two-family house.
And clearly, if you have a 2-family and you're making it a 3, that's an expansion of the use. I mean,
Or if you're even adding to the square footage of the two-family house.
Or
I can
as
see
in
that.
Festo, I
Correct,
think
that's-
Festo is different as well.
Well, a garage has 4 walls, a pergola doesn't have walls.
doesn't matter, they're all
It just has a
structures.
roof,
They're
that's
all
it.
structures. It's not a living
Right.
space, they're not expanding the use. That you can't pick and choose is my point. You
Right.
have to be,
You have
either
to be
they're expanding
consistent.
the use or they're not expanding the use. That's the issue.
And when we
And the use
applied,
that's illegal is the 2-family, not the
the pergola.
shed in the yard, not the pool.
Right, so the use variance that we're looking at is for the property, not the pergola. So as in Festo, it was the property, not the garage.
All of them.
Right.
The next one too, that
Simone.
Simone.
Simone's
He's
gonna
got
do
a
the same
2-family and he put a deck on without permits. Nick told him apparently he didn't need it. Did he? Didn't he? I don't know. I wasn't here.
I don't see
But
how
it's
it
an
affects the
expansion of
use
the
here.
2-family use.
With Festo, yes, I don't see it here.
Yeah, because there's no walls.
Not even
It's
walls.
open air.
It's not even
open air.
walls, it's just not
It's also
affecting the use of the
judged on the
property.
size of the property
People
as
aren't
well.
living in it, people aren't parking cars under it.
The question is what's being sought to be constructed an actual expansion of the non-permitted use? Right?
Okay.
Of the in this case, the non-permitted uses, 2-family and a single-family zone. So is the pergola, in your view, an expansion of that use? Or is it just something that is, you know, an accessory component of the property? That's what you have to decide. And you have to, every one of these that come in with, you know, non-conforming uses that want to do something else, you have to make a determination as to whether or not that proposed construction, that proposed improvement is actually an expansion of the use. If it's not, then you're probably stuck with area criteria on all these, on that circumstance, okay? And if it is, then you have to go to use variance. But you can make that determination in your deliberations of whether or not you believe it to be an expansion. Why don't you take the testimony from the applicant? You don't have to do it at this moment, you can
Right.
debate it when it's, you know, being considered, when you're adjudicating.
Thank you.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, just one quick thing, if you don't mind me saying a couple of things. When I came in front of you guys, I don't know, I think it was 2006, 2007, I forget what year it was, and I wanted to expand the house. They told me, we'll let you expand the house, we'll let you do an addition. I did a couple of an addition, and they said as long as it's for family use, personal use. Of
Right,
course it's for
that's
personal
accessory.
use. You know, this is my dream. My 5 daughters went to the school. 4 of them graduated college. The others are still high school. We've been here since 2000. You know, I'm not looking to buy and sell or the only reason I did that is for my own family's comfort. I never realized that would be a problem. If I did, but I never thought. Again, I thought the plans were with the pool, and they were with the pool. And then the guys gave me a hard time to say, we can't do that after they did the pool, after they got the money. No, we got to get somebody else. So we did a really nice job on it. It came out really nice, and I overbuilt it, just like I try to do everything with the house. That's where I'm going to live till I die, so.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank
Everybody
you.
else, anybody else have any comments, concerns? All right, any input from the public on this application? Look for motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will I get a decision later, or how does this work?
You can wait.
You can,
Yeah.
you can hang around.
Thank you.
What? Can we close it?
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
All right, number 6, application for Thomas Simone for variation of, oh, you know what, he
Yeah, he
actually
had to
actually
hold
asked
that
for a
over.
holdover because
He sent a letter.
he didn't know we had a scheduled vacation. So,
Motion to hold it over?
do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
New stuff. Oh my God, new stuff.
New stuff?
New stuff.
What's old is new.
What's new?
That's all.
Shut up, you. All right, new applications, Richard and Aristide Schlauku for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to subdivide the existing 5.84 plus or minus acres, 254,364 square feet, into 2 building lots. The property is located at 345 Austin Road, Mahopac, and is tax map 64.9-1-13. There's a lot on here. Code requires or allows lot width of 200. What's provided is 64.71, so a variance of 135.29. Lot 1, also frontage is 100 feet, 77.11 feet is provided. A variance of 22.89 feet is being sought. On Lot 2, the width requirement is 200. What's provided is 65.21 feet, so a variance of 134.79 feet is sought. And the frontage for Lot 2 is requiring of 100 feet. It's existing at 77.11 feet, 22.89 feet, variance being sought.
Similar, yeah.
Lot 1 depth line exists and re-enters the lot. That's provided, as well as for Lot 2, depth line exists and re-enters the lot. That's a mouthful. Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record.
Paul Lynch, Putnam Engineering.
Raise your right hand, Paul. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
All right, bring us through this one.
Actually, it's not as bad as it sounds. It really isn't.
I'm being a drama queen.
This is the parcel, which is the 5.8 acres. And it's basically, it's almost like a hammer, where you've got this handle, and then you have the bulk of the lot being up on the western side of the property.
And this is vacant now, or is it existing?
There was a house that was built on the property back in the late 90s. It burnt down somewhere around 2008.
Oh, wow.
So there was an original house in this location.
And they never restored it?
No,
Is the foundation still there?
it was a slab on grade.
Okay.
But the existing driveway starts on the neighbor's lot, which is the Delfinos. So they have a common driveway that comes up the hill, peels back off to Delfinos, and then continues on into what was the original house.
Wow.
There's an easement and description and all that sort of stuff. It's in both deeds for both properties.
There's an agreement, okay.
So what we're looking to do is take the 5.8 acre lot, split it in half so that the two brothers can build 2 individual houses in the meat of the property. With the lot width starts the line goes from the midpoint of your front line to the midpoint of your back line. So when you draw that line through here, you go to the midpoint, and that's where you go off 90 degrees, and that's where you get your width. So at this point, I'm at 65 feet, but when I get back to where you're actually developing, I've got over the 200 feet.
Right.
It's just the way the code works out.
And it's one of those odd-shaped lots.
Yeah, it's an odd-shaped lot where the math just throws you a curveball.
Yeah.
And when you take that point from here back to there, you actually cross over the line on that lot in this location, and you cross over the DeFino's lot through here to get to that midpoint.
Is there any property that someone can sell them to bring it into conformance, or there's no rights there?
No, because this is developed, that's developed, and this is developed.
You're all landlocked.
So they're sandwiched.
Are there
Tough one.
3 driveways then?
No, there's one driveway.
One driveway, and then it splits off at the end?
One driveway, this goes off to DeFino's, and then the driveway continues on to the back of the lot, and we would split it off at this location to go down to the one house would be here, and the second house would be up
Is there a
there.
plan to bring the driveway in to maintain within the property or not?
Does not work grade-wise.
Okay.
To be able to come off here, because of the steepness of this slope,
Steep slope.
to come off, you're just going back and forth
All
and
right,
chasing
so
grade.
the easement's gonna be maintained.
So the
perfection.
easement would be maintained, actually, it's gonna be
Actually, it's gonna be
upgraded.
more easements, because you have to have easements to the new the
Yes.
second lot that you're breaking off.
Right.
Yes, there would be a whole new easement agreement that's drawn up, and actually with the project, we'd also do some minor realignment and also regrading down here so there's proper line of eyesight pulling out of the driveway. Now, when you're pulling out of the driveway, you gotta inch out to look uphill.
Boston Road.
And we cut the grade back, and we had the proper, we got the proper line of sight for everybody.
Okay.
When the other house existed, was the other lot an existing building lot? No? They split it afterwards?
This is one lot that they're currently in front of the planning board trying to divide.
That's why it's in front of us, because.
One big T,
I
and
thought
they're
there
cutting
was
the
some
T
more.
in half.
I thought
So
it
then
was
it
a
will
moving-
become 2 flags.
a moving
2 flags.
lot line.
Okay. John, anything?
No, it looks good.
Yeah,
Thank
one
you.
lot has 2.76 acres, the other has 3.07 acres, so very
little-
close to the 3-acre zoning. so
Yeah, it's
I
just-
don't-
They
We're
meet
over.
the 3 acre zoning.
It's nominal. It's 120,000 square feet rather than 130,300 or whatever the total,
Because an acre's 43,560 in real life,
4560.
so that'd be 129.
We treat it as 3 acres is 120.
Okay.
Rather than about 130.
All right, Bill, anything? No questions, thank you.
No questions?
Guys down here?
No questions, Paul.
No questions.
Okay, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for,
Oh,
we
we
got
got-
some
we got
takers
people.
here? All right, please come on up.
We
All
have a
right, do
few.
me a favor, speak clearly into the mic. I'm going to swear you guys in as well. And anybody who comes up, please write your
Sign in.
name and your email address on that piece of paper that's on the podium.
All right, let's look at this again.
All right, we're going to have one person at a time speak. Are you guys representing together?
We're all individual neighbors around there.
All right.
So my name is Gary Marzano. I
Hold
live on
up,
Ava
hold
Lane.
up, hold up, hold up. So are you going to speak for everybody, or is everybody going to speak
Everybody's gonna
individually?
speak.
All right, because typically we ask, if you guys want to sit down, we'll take one person at a time, more or less.
Okay, you want to go first?
Ladies first?
Ladies first, there you go.
Okay, I'm Madeline Utterback.
All right, what's
And
your
I-
address?
327 Austin Road, Mahopac.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Go ahead.
So I'm actually here on behalf of my mom. It's Madeline Newmeyer. My dad was Carl Newmeyer. He was a fire department member, past chief. Anyway, my parents have resided in Mahopac for over 69 years. So, and they've lived in various locations around where they are right now. So about, I guess in 2017, when this lot first resold after the house burned down and wasn't rebuilt, someone purchased the land, and they in turn did a partial deforestation. Created a lot of problems. We had a lot of water runoff, huge, concern in terms of, future runoff with increased ground coverage. So we had ice moats of like 5 feet extending around the driveway entrance, so it made entering and leaving the driveway kind of dangerous, hard to get to a mailbox. We also had water seeping into the house. So for the first time ever in the history of owning any of the properties in that area, we had to dig up the back of the house, re-waterproof, and then put the land back and landscape. Never had to do that before. This adjacent lot was changed and altered. So it's just a huge concern. Also, just, I feel like it would change the environment, just the whole area. It's been very private. There's so much land around each home, so, you know, people enjoy the quiet and just the space. It's not a development. Just things that I wanted to bring up to the board, just concerns that we have.
We
Thank you.
appreciate that. Mostly planning board issues, and you can certainly be heard if you haven't already at their hearings. They were referred to us just for the variances. So really in front of us tonight is solely the variances that are being sought. But we appreciate your concerns.
Okay, so that doesn't, so I'm not speaking as to,
No, you have a right to speak. I'm just telling you, those are typical topics that get considered by the planning board.
okay, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, do you want to respond to? Yeah, just.
the mic,
just-
Mike,
yeah.
Mike, Paul?
Paul, Mike, Paul.
Just for personal knowledge,
Paul, just address us though, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
the Shalakus were not the owners of the property when the deforestation occurred. The previous owners cleared the lot, they got a violation. They had to go and get a SWIP approved by the New York City DEP and New York State DEC. So that's still in effect in essence. So Shalakus, as they get to develop the property, there will be another SWIP that gets updated because now I have houses located as to where they're gonna be on the property. So there'll be stormwater management practices that get put into place.
Okay.
So there'll be, the drainage in essence will get dealt with as part of the planning board process.
Tell them
Just
what a
so-
SWIP is, too.
It's a stormwater pollution prevention plan. And if you disturb more than 5,000 square feet, you need to get coverage under the New York State DEC permit, if you're within the New York City DEP's
So
watershed.
upon approval, there's plans to remediate some of
Yes.
these issues. Okay. So
Yes.
hopefully that'll allay some of
And
your
again, that's a
concerns.
planning board issue, that's
Yeah.
not a zoning board issue.
All right, good evening, sir. Just, guys, before you leave, if you didn't know, I think you did already,
Yeah, you
but
did.
just put your, before you leave the podium, put your name, address, and email
You could
address.
speak first and do it.
Yeah,
So I'm here too to say the same thing.
just
This
give me
is gonna
just your name and
change.
address for the record, please.
Gary Marzotto, 281 Agua Lane, Mahopac, New York.
Raise your right hand.
Right here.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thanks.
So I just think that it's going to change the characteristics of the neighborhood. Everybody has so much land between each other. I know the Newmeyers, I know their house. I plow their driveway in the wintertime. It's a sheet of ice. The water, the drainage, everything is just a disaster. I have a picture of, and I'm at the bottom on Agua Lane, and just to show you the water that I get coming down from that property is
What's that a
absolutely
picture of right
ridiculous.
there? Is those the steps going onto your driveway, or?
Those are the steps at the top of my driveway, and the property in question is way at the top of the hill. So Madeline lives behind me, and then this property is behind them. And ever since whoever came in and chopped all the trees down, this has occurred, and it's been ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. For me, my neighbor next to me, who couldn't make it tonight because he's a New York City fireman, and he's getting water like, it's just insane.
Okay, well, I think you heard Mr. Lynch just describe that there's remediation plan in effect.
Right.
if
So my
this gets
concern
approved.
also is that, you know, the characteristics of the neighborhood and how nice it is and stuff like that. I just think it's a little close to everybody, a little closer than we would like.
Okay,
All right?
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, you wish to speak? State your name and address for the record, please.
Steve DeFino, 349 Austin Road.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got to share the driveway with these people that are building a lot. They're going to widen my part, and I just want to make sure that it's done, right.
Okay, again,
Because-
that's a planning board concern,
Is it the planning board's
Yeah.
concern? Okay,
Yes.
fine. So,
and you certainly could go to their meeting and voice your concerns.
If you were the
So, but
most
that-
affected by it,
Right. Mrs. Delfino, it's your, not variance, the easement. It's your easement that's in play here, isn't it?
He's upwind.
Yeah.
right on the bottom.
Yeah.
But I have to share it.
No, understood.
Speaking to the mic.
What?
I,
Speaking to the mic, please.
Yeah, I'm just
Share the
making
driveway,
sure.
what?
Yeah, I'm just making sure you're the one that's the most impacted, because it's your easement that's in play here, right? Because they're using an easement to get through your property to get to the back.
Yeah, they have that easement.
Yes, okay. I just wanna.
Let Mr.
Okay.
Lynch, he's the engineer for this proposal, let him respond to that.
Yeah, he already,
Yes, actually, there's, in essence, when you look at the property, there's in essence two easements. One is the access easement for the owners of this property to cross Delfino, but then there's in essence the easement for Delfino to continue on up the driveway to go back into his property. So it's,
In and out.
it's for both people,
Both
both benefit.
And there will be an agreement for maintenance and all that has to be in place, and
Yeah,
that's
of
through the
course.
planning board.
That's
Part of the easement.
Yep.
Great. All right,
well,
anyone,
take that agreement up with, the maintenance agreement.
that would be with the new owners.
Yeah.
No, not with the new, I'm talking about who's got to approve it, the planning board or the zoning board?
Your lawyers have to get together, or a mutual agreement written, and I think
Before
it has to be
anything can be
notarized, right,
done.
Mike? Sorry?
Before anything can be done.
But you guys have to agree upon something, and then it gets submitted to the planning board, and then the planning board will review it, and it will be a condition of the final approval.
It'll be part of the decision in order, the final decision in order.
Shouldn't be much different than what it is now, other than you're
The
making
improvements
certain
being made.
changes that will be improving it, so.
Okay.
The only reason why this ended up here is because by rule, planning board has to reject it, give it up to us first, and then we give it back.
Right.
Because of the lot line.
Because of the
That's it.
variances.
Yes, it's just procedural. It comes up because of the necessity for variances, and then we kick it back down.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Sir, come on up. State your name and address, and speaking to the mic as well.
Lucas Edsel, 371 Austin Road.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
So my wife and I moved into 371 Austin Road about a year and a half ago. And where 371 is, it actually overlooks the lion's share of this lot. It's at the top of the hill. This is just down from us. And I just wanted to say that the Schlakus have been nothing but kind and wonderful neighbors since they've purchased the lot. Their families have been up there using it regularly for just outdoor activities all summer, and they've been great. So I'm really looking forward to actually having them as neighbors. Rich has a new baby who's 1 week younger than my son, so I'm really excited. So just wanted to get that on record.
Your excitement is on the record.
Just write your
Thank
name
you.
and address and your email address on the paper. You're the applicant? All right, come on up. Name and address for the record, please.
Richard Schlockel, 345 Austin Road, Mahopac, New York.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
This is the first time I'm meeting the neighbors. I just wanted, for the record, that the previous guy was not good to you guys.
All right, just address us. Go.
Yeah, we're
Please.
trying to make it right. We just want everybody to take into consideration. We've met almost all the neighbors, but now we just met new neighbors that just showed up to this meeting, and we're just trying to make it right what the previous guy made all the hardships for the neighbors. So I just want to state that for the record, that don't judge the lot by the previous owner. We're going to make improvements to help everybody out.
All right, I'm sure that's
Appreciate
appreciated.
Thank you.
We have your information, right? You don't?
Yeah, he
He's
doesn't.
he's an applicant.
He's an applicant.
I would say in the spirit of, God rest his soul, Mr. Joe Gervin, longtime chairman of this board, he would have applicants go out in the hallway, let them explain what they're doing to the neighbors, and 9 times out of 10, everyone left happy and shaking hands. So if you guys feel like doing that out in the hallway, you're welcome to. At this point, if anyone else has nothing to say, I'm going to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Motion to close.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Paul, if you're willing to do that, go ahead and have fun. Just close the doors.
Yeah.
Application number 8, Vincent Scarfone for a variation of section 156-20, seeking an area variance for permission to replace, repair front wall and fence. Property is located at 799 South Lake Boulevard, Mahopac. Tax map 75.43-1-17. Code requires or allows 4-foot fence. What's provided is a 6.2 or 6-foot 2-inch fence, so a variance of 2-foot 2-inch is being sought. Good evening.
Hello, it's nice to see everybody. I'm Beth Sabatini. I'm Vincent's wife, 799 South Lake Boulevard, Mahopac.
All right, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, what's the reason for the
So we
variance?
currently have a brick wall with a fence on top, measuring 44 inches and then 36 inches, which is 80 inches. It's falling apart. If anyone drives by our house, you've seen it, you know it, it's horrible.
It probably gets beat up from the salt and
It's
the
been- yeah.
snow, yeah.
So we're looking actually to build a shorter fence made out of stone, still with a fence on top. It's actually 6 inches shorter than what it is now, but that's still technically over what the allotment is. So we're going to build a shorter fence that's prettier.
Okay.
That's what I got.
And just like one of the previous applications, let me get back to the name. Yeah, actually, Mike, can you get that? He's got it. You guys are on a very busy road, one of the busiest roads in town, and I see the need for it. I see the need for separating the noise.
Yep.
It's existing, and you're going lower than what you've been. How long was the fence there, the existing fence there?
I actually don't know. We've been in the house since 2014, and it was the
there
same
prior
fence
to
that was there,
I
so
mean,
I don't
I'm
know
here
when
my
they-
whole life, and I remember always seeing the fence.
It looks like it's been there for your whole
You
life.
might have hit it.
Yeah.
So you-
No variance on it?
I said you might have struck it one night. With your elbow.
I have no response to that. So, yeah, I can imagine that it's been there for pretty much the lifetime of the house, and those houses have been there for forever.
And we are making adjustments actually for site. If you look at the bazaar on the right side of it, that pillar that comes in, that's actually purposeful because that's a window to see the cars that are coming from the left side. So we've actually taken that into consideration. It's been very thoughtful how we put that together.
Okay.
There's a nice pocket there of seeing that. So, and again, aesthetically, this aligns with what our neighbors put up. Our neighbors just redid on one side. So the stone is going to be the same height of that, and then, sorry, the fence is going to be the same height as our other neighbor. So aesthetically, it really fits in nicely.
All right, makes sense. Any questions from the board down here? Rose, come on, no questions.
No questions, thank you.
On my left flank?
No questions.
All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, the second by Julie?
Second.
Julie.
All right, a little like a mouse church back there. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
She said second
Thank you.
before you made the
thank you.
motion. I know you were getting mad that I was getting them in.
Application Luis Morgado, variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to add front porch to commercial building ADA access. The property is located at 14 Fair Street, Carmel, tax map 44.18-1-18. I'm sorry, 44 point, yeah, all right, I said that right. Code requires or allows 40-foot front. What's provided is 10 feet, variance of 30 feet is necessary. For the side, it's 25 feet required. What's provided is 18.08, so a variance of 6.92 feet is being sought. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
State your name and address for the
Louis
record.
Morgado, 29 Duke Drive, Carmel, New York.
All right, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, bring us through your application.
My wife and I purchased this property, 14 Fair Street, in 2021. And basically, we're just looking to give it a nice new face look.
All right,
And
just speak a little more clearly, because it's being picked up for minutes.
Oh, okay,
for
sorry.
Our secretary.
yeah, we're just looking to improve the actual appearance and aesthetics of the building. At the same time, give it a little bit more ADA access, access for the retail stores above. We actually own the bakery underneath, and basically it's really just aesthetically. and improve.
So the ADA ramp is being
Yeah,
required? Or
by putting the porch, we're adding a porch to the front of the building.
Okay.
And this, at the same time, we'll be able to do a ramp, because it doesn't, currently doesn't have any ADA access. And,
So which helps bring you into conformance with ADA?
yeah, and really giving I took,
Yeah, that comes off if you want to. Come on. There's one- yeah.
so I just took a couple of pictures of my neighbors. Briante right there, insurance across the street, just to show sort of with the
Yeah,
porch,
you're
the
not
idea of what we're looking for.
Out of character, you're, doing something similar
Right,
design-wise.
and basically just aesthetically, give it a new facelift, and at the same time, I'm sure then we would probably need to, we wanted to re-side the whole building, new siding and stuff, so we figured at that point, take advantage and do the porch then, instead of then down the road and with the new siding, then do the porch after.
That
So-
makes sense. I'm sure it'd be a welcome addition to the hamlet.
Yeah, I think anything, not to the previous owner, but he's, the way they left the building, they had their own taste, but I think it'll give it a better,
All right,
better
no, it's
new
good,
look.
it's good to see that people, take properties and invest their money into it and
Yeah, and
enhance them.
we started the business, my wife is a pastry chef, we started the bakery in 2022, so going on 2 years, and at the same time, I think by giving it this new look would also be more inviting to the
great.
whole community.
And they're making it accessible, which is really helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is a win-win all the way around.
Yep. John, any questions? Rose?
What style of bakery is that? I'm sorry.
I mean, we're Portuguese, but we do Italian, croissants, French. I guess.
Abundance.
Let the record reflect there have been no samples provided.
No further
St.
questions.
Joseph's
Thank
Day
you.
was last.
Sfigidel?
No questions, thank you.
Questions down here, guys? All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to
Do I have a
close.
second?
Second.
By Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night.
Thank you.
All right, finally, and last but not least, application DAG Route 6 LLC, Nick Greco, for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to construct a 3,240 square foot light impact industry use building 7 feet from the property lines to the north and east. Code requires 25 feet. The property is located at 395 Route 6, Mahopac, and tax map 75.20-2-5. The code requires or allows 25-foot setback, yard setback, and 7 feet is provided, so a variance of 18 feet is being sought. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
You both going to be speaking? Nikki, you going to speak as well? All right, so stand up. State your name and address for the record.
Adam Thyberg, Inside Engineering, 3 Garrett Place, Carmel, New York.
And Nick, hand him the mic, or you can grab the other mic too off if you
Nick
want.
Greco, 16 Hilltop, Somers, New York.
All right, will you guys raise your right hands? I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, guys.
All right, so the variance that's being sought is part of a site plan that's currently before the planning board. The site is 395 Route 6, Mahopac. It's in the C zone. The applicant's proposing to construct a 10,000 square foot contractor office and storage space, remove an existing dwelling from the site, and in its place construct a 3,240 square foot warehouse. The warehouse is the subject of the requested variance. Currently, the existing dwelling sits approximately on the property line, and I'll just show you the existing survey. So I've highlighted the existing dwelling. Here you can see, the heavy line is obviously the property line. That building sits more or less on both property lines, yes.
This is that building that's coming down.
That building would be coming down, and the view of that photo is from the south here, from Bucks Hollow, on the Bucks Hollow Road side, looking in that direction. So that building would be removed. Again, that building sitting approximately on the two property lines. The proposal is to take, as discussed, is to take that building down to put up the proposed warehouse that's shown on the site plan. And the proposed warehouse building will sit 7 feet from either property line. So the code does require 25, but we would be going from an existing 0, essentially 0, to 7 from either property line.
All right, is there any reason why you can't go further than that? Just
Yeah, the reason that it's placed where it is for one, parking, and also just being able to maneuver around the site. So we have, and the planning board has reviewed our site plans. We've shown vehicle maneuvers in through here, and so we use this space in here.
How many spots were required for this?
The total number of spots that are required are 37, and that's what we
So
have.
you had to allow some room for that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So there's parking in here, there's maneuvering space out in front of the building, and then, obviously the access is from Bucks Hollow Road.
What is this?
That is the existing building, again, that's being removed. And that view, yep, that view is from approximately here, looking at it from that direction.
So this building here,
Right, so
it
that
already
building,
exists.
correct,
That's
that's
a
on the
neighbor.
neighboring property. You see the gray building here? That's the building you're seeing behind
They
it.
don't show you the whole building on that.
And it should be noted that, again, the proposed warehouse is going to be sited, again, moving it away from where the existing building is, more or less on the property line, is moving to 7 feet off of either property line. The building on the neighboring property that you pointed out in the photo sits about 2 feet from the property line. So we're going to be further from the property line, both from the existing, where the existing building is, and from where the building on the adjacent property is relative to the property line. So just to run through the criteria, this will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detrimental effect on the surrounding properties. The new building will be a significant aesthetic improvement, as I think you noticed in the photos from the existing building that's
It's
to be
pretty
removed.
indicative of that part of town. You know, you got light industrial all over, you got Lemcar across the way.
Yeah.
Right.
And Verizon's right there.
And we've provided architectural plans and drawings both to you and to the planning board. They're going to be putting up a nice.
So what's the use, just like plumbing shop or?
We saw that, my apologies about the hat, it's covered in surgical.
Go ahead. You don't worry about it, Nick.
So yes, our intention, my brother and I, is to beautify the property. Once we bought it from D'Agostino about 15 years ago, the old nursery, and we've invested a lot of money in this town from when we started 24 years ago over at the Hilltop.
Oh, yeah.
Everything we do, we always take it a notch up. And like you said, Mr. Maxwell, that it's just a continuation of what exists in the area as well. All my neighbors have very similar buildings. All of them are rolled with 0 variance and so forth. We're not asking for much out of the ordinary. But yes, it will be 5, the one building will be 5, we want to say like construction condominium, I guess.
Judging from the existing aesthetics of the building that's there now, it's going to be a welcome
Absolutely.
advancement.
And we're going to enhance the look for the commuters of the bike trail. We're going to put all new trees along the fence and the whole 9 yards. Put all blacktop so there's no runoff of the mud and the dirt that's been coming in and out as well.
And they're getting rid of a non-conforming use.
Correct.
That's a good point.
Yeah. The house that we are getting rid of is what's on the property line, that 1-story dwelling. Besides that, there's a lot of storm drain problems in the area because years ago, all of the northern Vesci and the Delamere building didn't exist. So all those catch basins up under 6 come down into one area. So we have a little bit of an issue there. And I believe there is one of the main storm drain pipes runs directly under that home. And the hydrostatic pressure from when we get rain, it floods.
Wow.
6 to 8 inches into the home.
You guys going to repair that?
We're going to remove it and we're going to work together and reroute it and correct everything
You'll have
the right
problems
way.
down the road.
So you're going to be renting to 5 other businesses?
So those are going to be, yes, those are going to be rentals to 5, giving opportunities to we have a lot of friends that are in the contracting business in town, and they're having difficulties in parking their trucks or finding a spot to conduct their business and stay and keep everything in town. This will allow them 1 garage door per unit, will allow them to park 4 cars within the workshop, let's call it, within the workshop, in addition to having a half a bath for their office and their employees or the secretary or whomever is working with them, and it'll be 5 units. We've agreed to nothing such as like storing gravel or mulch or anything like that. I'll leave that to my neighbors. That's their business. That's not our business. I just want to clean up the property and blacktop it and just do individual things where people can work within the building and not be exposed and bring their works outside.
That makes sense.
It takes commercial vehicles off the road and puts them in an
Yeah,
appropriate zone.
off of personal properties as
Yeah,
well, so.
yep.
All right, any other questions?
That's a great improvement. No questions.
No questions, thank you.
No questions.
Nope.
All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second, all in
Thank you,
favor?
everyone. Happy Easter.
Aye.
Thank you.
Buon Pasqua.
Not possible.
Okay, that'll conclude any public input on any case that we discussed this evening as we adjudicate. So please keep that in mind. At this point, we will go through the agenda and adjudicate. All right, so application number 1, Norbert Letewick. I look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Granted. Okay, application,
Hold.
Altero was held over once again. Application number 3, Michael Festo. I'll look for a motion.
Sorry. There are use variance criteria that are in play if you make a determination that this particular improvement is an expansion of the use.
Right.
In that circumstance, you're supposed to do seeker. Okay? If you make a determination that it's not an expansion of the use, then there are 2 area variance criteria that you have to consider, and those don't require seeker. Okay?
Okay.
So, I would get to the whether or not you believe that this particular proposed improvement is in fact an expansion of the non-conforming two-family use. of the use.
Okay, so does
Should we
anyone
have
an
a
interpretation of
separate
that?
vote on that?
Yeah, I would think so.
You can.
Okay.
You can certainly have a discussion.
All right, so I move to find that that the application is an expansion of the use.
I second it.
Okay, any discussion on that?
I don't see it, because again, it's dwelling, and the garage space is not dwelling, so I'm not in favor of that way we're interpreting it, but I'm just one member, so that's the way I'm coming down on this.
Okay.
I think the potential's there, though, for living space at some point.
It could be, but that's not what's in front of us today.
It's a
so.
second floor.
I find that that it is part of the living space. It's where you put your cars. It's part of what you, when you're living there, it's what you use. So I find it as being an expansion of the use.
That's fair.
That's my opinion.
Okay. John?
Are we
You know, in
voting?
this particular case, since the applicant is not living in that residence, you know, that's a point.
Well, that's for the accessory use.
And that's for the accessory, so
That's not what he's.
the expansion of use, it's a garage, a 3-car.
And if it's an expansion, we're using use variance.
Correct.
That's what's,
Yeah.
that's the delineation.
Yep.
He's expanding 2 cars to 5 cars, so I think it's an expansion of his house.
That's right, he had an existing garage.
Yeah, he has 2 cars, so he's expanding to 5 cars.
Using the,
Two-family residence.
Correct. That, and
So you should roll call it. And if there's further
Okay,
discussion-
any other discussion here? All right. So,
The motion is. to-
motion for,
That it is an expansion, yes?
yes.
yes.
This is just for the expansion of use.
Yes.
It's not for the,
Not for
not the
the, not for
variances.
the
Right.
variance.
Not for the variance, that it is an expansion.
so, all right, John, you for the motion?
No, I'm against the motion.
Okay, Rose,
For the motion.
Phil,
For the motion.
Against the motion.
Julie,
4.
Against.
and I'm for the motion.
All right.
So
So
it carries.
pass 4-3.
Okay?
So with that, the
So
motion,
it's a seeker, it's a use variance.
Okay, so that's when I have to read through the EAF, right?
Okay.
So part,
Through part 2.
yeah, part 2, impact assessment, we have to answer all the following questions in part 2, using the information contained in part 1, and other materials submitted by the project sponsor or otherwise available to the reviewer. When answering the questions, the reviewer should be guided by the concept, have my responses been reasonable considering the scale and content of the proposed action? So,
I'm going to ask you
Okay.
Or a small impact or a moderate to large impact.
Are you going to keep record of that, or should I mark it out?
30 minutes,
Okay.
at the end of the day, you're going to make the determination.
You can check them when you do it.
All right, and I'll put it in the folder for Dawn.
All right, so one, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan and zoning regulations?
Yes.
Sorry, Ben, did we get that? Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
Material conflict, material meaning,
A land use plan, like your zoning.
Yeah, it's in conflict with our zoning code.
So is it
Yeah.
a small impact or a moderate to large impact?
His proposal, I think, is fairly significant,
Rest of the board?
or I guess moderate, I would say moderate. I don't know about the rest
all
of
right, so
you.
it says
I would
moderate
say
to
moderate.
large impact may occur.
Will the proposed action create and change the intensity or use or intensity of use of land?
Yes.
I think it's a moderate to
Yes.
large impact.
That I would agree.
Will the proposed action impair the quality or character of the existing community?
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
No. No.
Will the proposed action have result in an adverse change to existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the
You don't think
proposed
it'll affect the traffic?
No.
Traffic?
The-
No.
The,
existing level of traffic?
It's,
is the
that's a
question.
volume
Not-
question.
Yeah, it's not changing the volume.
a volume
That's a volume question. No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action impact public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna?
Unsure?
No. No.
No.
Garage?
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Potentially.
It depends, because, you know, if he builds this thing, he's affecting the grade, right? He's got to manipulate the grade to put it in the driveway,
Yeah.
new driveway, and the actual slab
Yeah.
itself, it's probably slab on grade, Mike, right?
I guess the question is erosion, flooding, or damage problems. Do you have any evidence before you that the proposed
No.
action
We don't have any
will
evidence of that.
result in an
No
increase in the potential of those?
No.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
No.
Okay, so you've answered 9 of the questions no, and 2 of the questions moderate to large. You can make a secret determination at this point. I would assume that's a negative declaration in terms of environmental significance. Somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Can all in favor of that?
Aye.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
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 Now, you've determined that it's an increase, or, I'm sorry, an expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming use, and you've made a negative declaration, so you can vote, if you want, the application.
Now we can vote the use variance.
Okay. You want to make that? All right, so do we have a motion?
All right, a motion to deny the application.
Second?
All right, any discussion?
Discussions, we went through them, the use variance criteria, all four. Incapable of earning a reasonable return if used for any of the allowable uses with dollar amounts must be shown. There was a letter that was not, I believe.
It didn't prove numbers and-
It didn't prove numbers, it was very, very vague. 2 is property affected by a unique or at least a highly uncommon circumstance. I would say no. 3, we will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. I believe it would. 4, not self-created. I believe it is. That's just my opinion, but we only need 1 not to be found, and
Right.
that's enough to end it.
Okay, any other input?
I mean, again, since we're considering this under a use variance as opposed to an area variance, I'd have to agree with Phil that the financial hardship wasn't proven. Oh, and it may also alter the neighborhood, so.
Okay, so roll call vote, John,
Yeah,
for the
so
motion?
it's for the use variance, so, yeah, we're not for the motion to grant
No,
variance.
it's a
So
deny.
you're
It's a
for
deny.
the
It's a
motion
motion to
that he
deny.
made to
Oh, yeah,
deny?
for the motion for
Deny,
Phil.
okay. Rose,
the
you're for the
motion.
motion to deny? Phil
For the
obviously made the
motion.
For the
motion.
motion to deny.
For the motion?
For.
For. And I'm for the motion as well. So this dies on arrival.
Mr. Fukash.
All right, so on application number 4, I'd make a motion that the application is not an expansion of the use.
I second that.
All right, any discussion to that motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Right, so we don't need the EAF on this, right?
You don't need to do it, there's no use, relief that's sought, and there's no bulk relief, so the applicant can continue with the building.
All right, great.
That's it, so you're good.
So,
good.
all right, it's moved on.
Good to go?
You're welcome. You too, bye-bye.
All right, application number 5, Guthrow, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Do I have a Second, any discussion?
Do
All-
we have to stipulate that it has to be owner occupied?
No, it's in the
No,
code.
that's understood as part of the code.
That's the code.
Right, Mike?
It's the code.
Part of what the application record
Owner relative.
sought. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's carries. Simone's held over. Schlaku, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's granted. Scarfone, look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's granted. Louis Morgado, look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and DAG Route 6, looking for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes from January 25th, 2024.
Motion to accept?
Do I have a
I
second?
just amended it.
Okay,
As
as amended.
Yes.
As amended.
As amended by Rose.
We saw that.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
And I'll look for a motion to close the meeting.
No.
Nope, we got February.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Vote on.
February. I'll look for a motion to accept the minutes of February 22nd,
Motion to accept.
2024.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion to close.
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Happy
you all.
Easter.
Have a happy Easter.
Happy Easter, happy Passover,
Happy Passover, happy
Passover,
Easter.
excuse me.
everything else.